My name is Jordan Schimnowski. I run a full-time practice called Motio Massage Therapy. I'm also a registered massage therapist, so I do a lot of the manual work as well. I studied my craft at Wellington College of Remedial Massage Therapy. What drew me to massage therapy was an interesting thing. When I first came across massage therapy, I had no idea what the heck was going on or what massage therapy was. And at the time I was working at Canadian Blood Services, and in Canadian Blood Services I worked with a series of different nurses, healthcare practitioners, and people who were in some form of the medical profession. I ended up talking to this one lady who was one of the nurses who was actually really good at just kind of getting people into the areas of expertise that worked best for their personalities. So she did this for a series of people. So I approached her and asked her, I was like, look, okay, so my mom gave me a whole year to find out what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I was down to my last 30 days. My mother had already told me, okay, you need to actually start figuring out what you're gonna do for the rest of your life. So I went to this nurse and I asked, look, I really need some help. I'm not too sure what niche I should be going into, and I was wondering if you could help me out with that. She said, sure, give me a couple of weeks. I'll observe all of your behaviors, the way you interact with people, and how you proceed in emergency situations. So a couple weeks went by, we went for coffee, and I said, okay, so what exactly was it that you came up with? And she said, well, I came up with 3 things for you. And I was like, oh, what are the 3 things? And she said, number 1, I think you should be a bricklayer. And I was like, a bricklayer? I don't like getting my hands that dirty. Then I was like, what's the second one? She's like, well, I think you'd be a good fire paramedic kind of person. And I was like, okay, that's interesting, but I'd probably cry if somebody died in front of me. And then finally I was like, well, what is the next one? And she said, I think you'd be a great massage therapist. I said, massage therapy? I was like, what's massage therapy? And she's like, there's 2 other nurses here in Canadian Blood Services. So I went to the 2 nurses and I asked them what their experience was. They loved the industry, they loved what they did, but unfortunately at the time massage therapy was a fairly new concept when they were practicing. It wasn't necessarily the most popular service. It took a lot of time, there was no steady income, and as they're raising families they need more of a steady income. So I said, okay, well, I'll go to a school, see if they offer it. Turns out there was 2 schools at the time that offered massage therapy. I went to the one that kind of attracted me the most, which was Wellington. I'm a total Harry Potter nerd. So because I'm a Harry Potter nerd, when I walked in, they had this huge crest on the back on the reception desk that looked like Hogwarts. After I saw that, and all the writing around the crest was in Latin, which was really, really kind of mystical kind of thing. And because when I went into the orientation that time, a lot of people were starting to get ready for graduation. So there's literally people walking around in robes, like barrister robes and things like the instructors, trying on their things to get ready to graduate, which just made me feel more like Harry Potter. So I went into the orientation at the lecture hall, and the principal put 4 shapes on the whiteboard, and he said, there's a triangle, a square, a circle, and a squiggly line. I want you to choose which one resonates the most with you. I didn't know if this was actually going to do anything, but I went along with it anyways. They said, whoever's a triangle, put your hand up. So I was like, well, triangles are kind of sharp and pointy, and I'm not a sharp and pointy kind of person. Squares, they're kind of boxy, and they don't really give very many opportunities to expand out of things because it's very literal rules that make a square. So I was like, well, circles, I was like, well, circles are okay, but again, they just go around and around and around. And I was like, it didn't seem like there was a whole lot of opportunity to really delve into things that were more creative. And then there was the squiggly line. So in this group of about 38 people in the lecture hall, there was only 7 of us who put our hand up for the squiggly line. I was one of those 7 people. The principal turned around and he said, that's the personality of a massage therapist. After that, I got this huge burst of passion, this huge burst of motivation, and I felt exactly where I was supposed to be was exactly what I was doing. So after that, I went through my interview, I sent in my information, got approved right away. The rest was history. I got approved right away for student loans, started school about 6 weeks after I went to the orientation, and went full throttle for the whole 2 years. The most satisfying part of my job as being a massage therapist is the ability to be able to give relief to people. I find people nowadays are so fast-paced, they have so much stress in their lives, they're always on the go, and they don't necessarily have that time to come in and spend that time for themselves so they can feel sane again in their own bodies. And so one of the most satisfying things is the feeling that the client gets after when they walk out and they feel they have had the best massage, they felt like they've slept for 12 hours, or they go in with a serious lower back problem or sciatica pain, and after that 1 hour they come out of the service and it's gone. So whenever I see a client come in and they're out of the pain that they were dealing with, they feel more at ease, that's the most satisfying part of my job. Motio Massage Therapy opened technically in 2013, but I didn't register my business name until 2014. So that was the time that I had started my business. And I started my business pretty much out of sheer desperation at the time. I was working for a clinic that wasn't paying me enough, wasn't valuing me as a therapist, and really wasn't treating me like an actual professional, was treating me more like a worker of some sort. When it came into it and my paychecks were going down to about $70 every 2 weeks, and at the time I had just graduated college, I had $13,000 student loan I had to pay off, I had a brand new car I just purchased, plus cell phone bill as well that needed to get paid. I had a bit of a breakdown at the time because I felt like I was failing at my industry, at something that I was so passionate about already. And because of that, I asked the universe, I was like, please give me a sign, give me something to kind of go off of, because I feel like I'm failing at what I'm doing. Well, I got this little voice in my head and it said, well, what do you have? And I looked around in my office at the time and I said, well, I have a massage table, 4 sets of linens, and a bottle of oil. And the voice answered back to me and it said, use them. So I was like, oh, really? Just use them. Okay, sounds good. Shortly after that, I was like, well, how can I advertise this? I have a car and I can do a mobile massage, I guess. And so I went on Kijiji, and at the time Kijiji was fairly new, so I decided, I was like, oh, I'm a massage therapist, I'll come to your home. Within 2 hours after I posted that ad, I had 5 inquiries about mobile massage. 3 of which were not necessarily the most professional people who were looking for real massages. They were on the other side. That really was not what I was interested in. At this point, I was already nervous to answer the phone again because of the 3 creepy people that I had to talk to. It turned out it was just a simple guy who was looking to get a massage with his family at his home. And he was very professional on the phone, talked to me really well. We had a great conversation, and then I booked my first mobile massage. And at the time, I was already getting disconnection notices from my cell phone. And within 2 days, I was able to pay off my cell phone bill as well as have a profit. And I was able to go out and hang out with my friends that I was so desperately looking to hang out with at the time, because I was able to do what would have normally taken me 8 to 12 hours working for this other clinic in a matter of 2 hours. So then after that, I kind of just every week I added another ad on Kijiji, and I got an inquiry every single week about massage. Before I knew it, my one client turned into, oh, now him and his wife want to get treatments. And then, oh, now him and his wife, his daughter want to get treatments. Finally, it turned out that now I was working every 2 weeks on this family, working on the husband, the wife, the daughter, and the son all together. So at the end of the day, a couple months went by, and then people were starting to know me, and then I was getting referrals. I decided it was time for me to maybe think of developing a name for myself. And so came up with the name Motio Massage Therapy, which is the Latin word for movement, motion, and mobility. It just rang off the tongue really well. I had a bunch of creative ideas that came from just that one word. And then I registered Motio Massage Therapy, and here I am 8 years later with a full-time practice with over 1,500 clients. And I now have hired another therapist, and I'm also looking to hire multiple other therapists to help with my mobile sector, which has just grown by 200 clients. My vision for the future of my business. So my original concept was I was just gonna do my own thing, but now that it seems to be a popular thing and people are constantly calling, my vision in the next 10 years is to be able to have multiple micro clinics in Winnipeg, possibly 3, where I can have 1 or 2 therapists working out of them who are able to have their own headquarters and be able to work in all the different sides of the city. Eventually, going further down the road, I'd love to be able to franchise my company to help individual massage therapists who are looking to run their own practice but have a steady income, have the marketing taken care of for them, but they get to be satisfied themselves the same way I did running my own business with the help and support that Motio Massage Therapy would offer them. If people are interested in booking an appointment with me, they simply just have to either call us, text us, or book their appointment online.